Okay, so I said in my previous video that I would talk a little bit more about martial law and why I think it is something that would be appealing to a sick freak like Donald Trump. He's hinted at, potential conflicts that could arise in the near future. So I'm going to bring up this article, this from the New Republic. Trump hints U.S. could go to war with allies someday, wild presser. Donald Trump announced a new investment in military aircraft production Friday, revealing that he had contracted Boeing to develop the world's first sixth-generation fighter jet, named the F-47. One guess why he's calling it the F-47. And he managed to threaten America's allies in the process. Something the likes of which nobody has seen before. In terms of all the attributes of a fighter jet, there's never been anything even close to it. In terms of speed and maneuverability to payload, Trump said during the Oval Office press briefing. The pseudo-advertisement for the forthcoming fleet followed a tumultuous week for America's military-industrial complex, in which U.S. arms makers were shut out of the European Union's $800 billion defense spending plan. It also came after Canada and Portugal revealed they were similarly wobbling on whether to replace their aging air forces with American-made products. By all means, the reveal of the F-47 needed to go well for America's stressed defense industry. But Trump couldn't stop himself from throwing water on the pitch. Our allies are calling constantly. They want to buy them all, Trump continued, before claiming that America's allies would get toned-down versions. We'd like to tone them down about 10%, which probably makes sense because someday maybe they're not our allies, right? The president said. Foreign sales are crucial to the American arms industry, but Trump's repeated aggression against America's strongest alliances have made world leaders waver on whether the continued investment is worth it. The sales pitch from American arms manufacturers simply isn't as persuasive as it was under previous administrations. For decades, purchasing American fighter jets and weapons came with an added bonus of U.S. protection. As global leaders have witnessed, Trump by long-standing military treaties and aggress U.S. allies, that promise no longer feels like a guarantee. Trump's shocking hostility toward Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during critical peace negotiations, his nonsensical trade war, his threats to annex Greenland, his whiplash decisions to suspend and unsuspend military resources and intelligence with Kiev, his venom toward NATO, and his insistence on making Canada the nation's 51st state, have all called the reliability of American protection into question. This guy they use the term whiplash there, and there can't be a more apt description for what he does. It's just flood the zone with crap. It's a Steve Bannon tactic. It reeks of Stephen Miller. His little bluish fingers you can just feel them tickling your back as you read some of these stories. Stephen Miller's just a despicable human being. He's kind of one of the shadow presidents under behind Elon Musk. If you have not seen Stephen Miller talk, or you don't know what he looks like, YouTube him, Google him, and then just try to savor the taste of food after you just listen to him. So a lot of people, they don't really understand martial law. It's a vague concept because it's not super well defined. So there's been different takes on it, over the years. I believe there was a Chief Justice that actually on the Supreme Court that gave kind of his rendition and take on it. I would have to look that up. I'm pretty sure there was a Chief Justice who did that. And if anybody knows, go ahead and shout it out in the comments. So I kind of found a nice, brief explanation of what martial law is, and it can be chilling. So, without further ado, bring it up on the screen here. So, a brief explanation of martial law: suspension of civil liberties. Martial law, which is the imposition of military control over civilian authorities, typically leads to the suspension of civil liberties such as the right to free movement, free speech, and protection from unreasonable searches and seizures. Military control. The normal civilian justice system is replaced with the military justice system, such as military tribunals, where civilians may be tried for offenses. If you have been following politics as obsessively as I have, the tribunals have already kind of come up in the past year. Restrictions on freedom. You may face arrest for violating curfews or restrictions imposed by military authorities. Military personnel may detain you, potentially indefinitely, if the writ of habeas corpus is suspended. Military law. Existing laws may no longer apply, and you can be charged with a crime for an action that would not normally be illegal. Military can take over local governments and their responsibilities. Military leaders may create and enforce their own laws. Examples of actions that can take place during martial law include curfews for citizens and restricting public gatherings to prevent civil unrest. Kinda sends a chill up the spine, doesn't it? You can see how something like that would be very, very sexy to Donald Trump. Somebody like him who wants to be an authoritarian, who wants to be the dictator of the largest country in the world. See his proposal for making Canada the 51st state. See his trying to annex Greenland. The Vances are going to be on their way to Greenland. I cannot see how they don't see that backfiring. That is going to be just a sea of booze. Not booze as in liquids, but booze as in boo. Boo, J.D. Vance, you suck, and by extension, we think your wife sucks. I don't know Alicia Vance's real views on anything, but the fact that she's going along with it, it kind of makes me lose some respect for her. And I don't even know her. All the respect I had for J.D. Vance, that vanished. That vanished quite some time ago. That's just not in any way, shape, or form going to be a good trip. Martial law is serious stuff, and just the fact that it doesn't have a rock solid foundation, in which, for a jurist, an honest jurist to sort of navigate, Trump could try anything. He sees, in Ukraine, Zelensky, he had to enact martial law that stops elections in Ukraine during wartime. It doesn't appear to work that way in the United States, but if we know anything about Donald Trump, is he will try to finger any loophole he possibly can if it gives him more power and influence. So, I pray that I'm wrong, and that he wants nothing to do with declaring martial law. Nothing at all. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, I want you to be prepared. I found an excellent website about preparing for martial law if it were to occur. It's the Survival Tabs website. Survival Tabs is a very, very useful product for anything that would involve you needing to shutter yourself down and hold down a bunker. Very useful product, so I 100% support that. In this, I'm going to include the link to that site in the description of the video, so please check it out. If for no other reason than just to humor me, and just say you visited the site, and okay, it's not my thing, I'm not a survivalist, I'm not going to make a bunker. But being prepared in these ways could save your life, and it could save your family's life. I have tattoos. I have brown skin. The Trump regime might just decide, hey, turn to Nicaragua right there. Ship in El Salvador. So these are absolutely steps that I'm going to be taking to protect myself and my family. Even if it isn't a distinct possibility, it is a possibility. Military rule under Donald Trump. That's no laughing matter. They might be idiots, morons, but they're useful morons to darker powers at play. I think it's been made pretty clear what Donald Trump foresees for the future of America. It's Donald Trump till the day he dies. To instigate an insurrection. Because of an election he obviously lost. Just think what he would do now. He ain't a healthy guy. He ain't a fit guy. He hears death knocking on the door. He's not going to want to leave power. He wants to sit behind the Resolute desk until they literally cart his carcass out of there in a pine box. Or a gold box, whatever crap he wants to do here. Anyways, please visit that site. Once again, the link is going to be in the description. Be prepared. Take care of yourself. Take care of the ones you love. Take care of your neighbors. Whether Republican or Democrat, I don't care. We need to unify now more than ever before. We up our lawyers, our good lawyers. Contact your congressman. Leave 20 messages a day, I don't care. Whatever it takes to just be prepared. There's a lot of good lawyers out there that are going to be fighting for the right thing. And if Trump does decide he's going to try to declare martial law, they're going to fight tooth and nail against it. Just resist. Resist. Don't give up hope. Don't let the darkness take you. Keep your head held high. Just be good to one another. Take care of each other. Love each other. Because there's strength in unity. We will resist in the future. I'm Justice Rossetti. I'll see you.